Hello students, here is the last video that I will upload in both YouTube and Daigler. But for the next session, I will line up the videos that will serve as examples for the topics that shall be discussed. And I want you to watch them in advance. Then you just ask questions for those parts of the solution or explanations where you can hardly follow, so that I will explain them in the lecture part or in the face-to-face part. So I'm the one who is the original of these YouTube videos, and I'm sure that in engineering I'm the one who has this YouTube channel. I'm making myself tired and stressed. Others are just using my channel, letting them to watch my channel. That's all, and they are relaxed. So I think I deserve also relaxation, because for the 2,000 plus videos that I uploaded in YouTube, there were many occasions where I was hospitalized. So I deserve to be awarded by those efforts. So I think it's also effective because all your concerns, questions, clarifications will be discussed during the face-to-face classes. So that would be beginning next week. So here's the problem. For the beam shown below, the superimposed dead load is 1.6 kilopascals, while the live load is 2.4 kilopascals. So L1 equals L2 equals 4.8 meters, and S is 3 meters. Determine the maximum factored moment in beams AB and DE. AB is an exterior beam and DE is an interior beam in two ways. Also determine the maximum factored moment in BE, which is an interior beam also, that is end supported, also in two ways. Assume all supports are simple and beams weigh 2 kilonewtons per meter. So evaluating the ratio of the longer span to shorter span, it is less than 2, so the loading should be distributed in two ways. So for beam AB, which is this end beam or exterior beam, so this is S over 2, interior beam, that is S. The loading is trapezoidal aside from the weight of the beam itself, which is uniform and rectangular. So the weight of the beam is the load factor for dead load is 1.2. So 1.2 times 2 kilonewton per meter, 2.4 kilonewtons per meter. So I'll discuss first the original loading distribution, so which is this trapezoidal loading. Then the uniform loads, dead and live loads, to be placed on this trapezoidal floor is 1.2 times dead load 1.6 plus 1.6 load factor times live load 2.4. So the value of this is 5.76 kilopascals. So that's the pressure but this pressure is factored, so this is P sub U. Then the spacing S over 2, so 3 over 2. So in kilonewtons per meter, WU is 8.64 kilonewtons per meter. So we then evaluate the reactions to compute for the moment at the center where the maximum moment occurs at the center. So summation versus y equals 0. By symmetry, RA equals RB. So 2 times RA equals the area of this rectangle, 2.4 times 4.8 plus the area of the trapezoid. So of course this is S over 2, 1.5, 1.5. So 4.8 minus 1.5 minus 1.5, 1.8. So the area of the trapezoid is 1/2 upper width, which is 1.8 meters, plus lower width, 4.8 meters, times the intensity of the load, which is factored 8.64 kilonewtons per meter. So we get 20.016 kilonewtons. So the maximum factored moment in the exterior beam AB is equal to, so moment at the center, RA, which is 20.016, moment arm 2.4, which is half of 4.8, minus, this is 6.48 kilonewtons, which is the area of this triangle, 1/2 of 1.5 times 8.64, so 6.48. Then the moment arm is 1/3 of 1.5.5 plus half of 1.8.9, so that's why you get 1.4. Then this rectangular area is 0.9 meter by 8.64, 7.796 kilonewtons. Then the moment arm is half of 0.9, 0.45 meter. Then minus the moment of this uniform load up to the center, 2.4 kilonewtons per meter times 2.4, moment arm half of 2.4, so it's the same as 2.4 times 2.4 square over 2. So the maximum moment, factored moment in AB is 28.56 kilonewtons per kilonewton meter. For the other technique, which is by converting this trapezoidal loading, factored loading, into equivalent uniform loading, WE. So this is the long direction with one side only, one panel, because it is an exterior beam. So it is PU, P in general. So in this case, PU 5.76 S3 divided by 6, quantity 3 minus quantity S over L square. And we get 7.515 kilonewton meters. So the total uniform factored load would be 2.4 kilonewtons per meter plus 7.515 kilonewtons meter. So that's 9.915 kilonewton per meter. So the maximum moment, if the load is uniform in a simply supported beam, is WL square over 8. So we have WU 9.915, length 4.8 square over 8. So we obtain the same value of 28.56 kilonewton meter. We then proceed to the interior beam DE. This is the figure, and the intensity of the load is now 5.76 times S. So pressure 5.76 times S3, 17.28 kilonewtons per meter. So considering the original loading, so that you don't memorize, the reaction at D and E equal, so summation versus Y equals 0, 2RD 2RD is equal to 2.4 times 4.8 plus area of the trapezoid 1/2 quantity 1.8 plus 4.8, then intensity of the loading 17.28, so you'll get 34.272 kilonewtons. Then the maximum moment in BE, factored moment in BE, is the moment at the center, which is equal to RD 34.272, moment arm half of 4.8, 2.4, minus 12.96. Again, just consider the solution earlier. It's area of this triangle, and 15.552 area of this triangle also. So minus 12.96 times moment arm 1.4, 0.5 plus 0.9, 1.4, minus 15.552 times 0.45, then minus moment of the uniform weight of the beam 2.4 times 2.4 times 2.4 over 2. 2.4 times 2.4, that's the force, equivalent force. Moment arm 2.4 over 2. So 2.4 times 2.4 square over 2. And it is 50.20 kilonewton meter. For the equivalent loading, WE, this WE is equal to PU 5.76 S3 over 6 quantity 3 minus S over L square. This time we multiply by 2 because DE is an interior beam. So it is 15.03 kilonewtons per meter. That's factored also. Then we add the weight of the beam 2.4. So the total load is 17.43. So maximum moment factored load in DE is 17.43 times L square 4.8 square over 8. So maximum factored moment is 50.2 kilonewton meter. Then for BE is the figure. The loading is just trapezoidal, but the formula for short beam, short span is PS over 3. So, but we use the original loading first. This is equal to PUS. So, it is the same as that for interior beam, and this is an interior beam also, but the shorter beam. So 17.28, and the area, half area of this triangle is 12.96. So this is 1.5, 1.5 because the length of the beam is 3. Half of 1/3 of 1.5 is 0.5, the moment arm of 12.96 kilonewton. So summation versus y equals 0. 2RB equals area of the rectangle plus area of the triangle. So 2RB equals area of the rectangle 2.4 times 3 plus area of the triangle 1/2 of 3 meters base height 17.28. So RB is 16.56 kilonewtons. So the maximum moment factored, which occurs at the center, is equal to RB times 1.5. So 16.56 times 1.5 minus 12.96 times 0.5, then minus the moment of the rectangular uniform weight of the beam 2.4 times 1.5 times 1.5 over 2, or simply 2.4 times 1.5 square over 2. So it is equal to 15.66 kilonewton meter. In terms of the equivalent load, so equivalent load WE is PU, which is 5.76 S3 over 3 times 2. So W equivalent, PU 5.76 S 3 over 3 times 2 for an interior member. So 11.56 kilonewton per meter. Then maximum moment factored based on this uniform load, equivalent uniform load, plus the weight of the beam 2.4. So it is equal to 11.52 plus 2.4. So that's 13.92 kilonewton per meter. So maximum moment is W 13.92 L squared 3 squared over 8. So we'll get the same answer of 15.66 kilonewton meter. So that's it for this problem. For problem for the next problem in this session this week, an assembly area with fixed seats. The live load is 2.87 kilopascals. Has the given floor plan shown. The concrete slab, specific gravity 2.4, has a thickness of 120 millimeters. Compute the maximum unfactored moments in an interior beam and in an interior girder when S is 3.6 meters. Beams are W10 by 49 while girders are W16 by 67. Also compute the corresponding axial load on columns B2, A, B, C. So this is 1, 2. So this is column B2, this interior column here. This is the tributary area for column B2. And C2. So this is C2. This is the tributary area for column C2. So first, let's evaluate L over S. L, I change it to 6. Then S is 3.6, so it is less than 2. So the loading distribution is two-way. So the pressure is, we have the weight of the slab and the live load on the slab. So for the dead load, specific weight of concrete 2.4 times 9.81 times thickness of concrete 0.12 meter, then plus 2.87 kilopascals. So that gives us 5.695 kilopascals. The weight of the beam is 10 by 49. This is English. So 49 times 1.488 times 9.81 over 1,000. It is now in 0.7153 kilonewtons per meter. While the weight of the girder is 67 times factor 1.488 to convert it to kilogram per meter times 9.81 newtons per kilogram divided by 1,000. So 0.9780 kilonewtons per meter. So this is now the loading system for this interior beam here. So it is trapezoidal. Aside from the weight, uniform weight of the beam, which is 0.7153 kilonewton per meter. So the length is 6, then half of S, half of 3.6, 1.8, 1.8, 6 minus 2 times 1.8, 2.4 meters. So the width here is 2.4 meters. The intensity of the loading is W, pressure, times S. For interior beam, we use S because that's S. So 5.695 times 3.6, 20.502 kilonewtons per meter. The area of this triangle, 1/2 of 1.8 times 20.502, 18.452 kilonewtons. The area of this rectangle, this is the mid-center, is 1.2 meters by 24 by 20.502, so 24.602 kilonewtons. Summation versus y equals 0 by symmetry 2 times RIB equals area of the rectangle 0.7153 times 6 plus area of the trapezoid 1/2 of 2.4 meters plus 6 meters times height intensity 20.502. So the reaction in the interior beam is 45.20 kilonewtons. We can now compute the maximum moment at the center by summing up moments about the center automatically. So it is equal to RIB 45.2 times 3 meters minus 18.452 times moment arm 1/3 of 1.8 is 0.6 plus 1.2, so 1.8. Then minus 24.602 half of 1.2, 0.6. Then minus moment of the left half of the beam 0.7153 times 3 times 3 over 2 or 0.7153 square over 2. So the maximum moment in the interior beam is 84.41 kilonewton meters. So the other solution by equivalent uniform load WE. So it is pressure times spacing over 6, quantity 3 minus S over L square, then times number of sides. So for an interior beam, times 2. So 5.695 S 3.6 over 6, quantity 3 minus S over L, quantity square, then times, so 18.042 kilonewton meter. Then to be added with 0.7153. So the total uniform load, equivalent uniform load, is 18.042 plus 0.7153. The maximum moment in the interior beam is total uniform load L square 6 square over 8. And we get the same answer of 84.41 kilonewton meter. Then we have to consider the interior girder. For the interior girder, like this one, so we have 3 triangular loadings with intensity the same as the interior beam. And we have reactions, concentrated loads here and here, which is double the internal reaction for an interior beam. So this is 2 times RIB. So we have this loading, 3 triangular loadings with intensity 20.502 kilonewton per meter. Then plus 2 times 45.2, so 90.4 kilonewtons. 90.4 kilonewtons, also 90.4 at the center, but it, this is 90.4, 90.4. At the ends, they are not included because these reactions do not cause bending of the beam, but they cause axial reaction at this column here or in any columns as long as the girders are attached to them. So they are not included because for computing the maximum moment, when the load, concentrated load, is acting at the support, then it is counteracted by the same amount of force. So the moment at about any point will just be 0. So it will not cause bending, in other words. So summation forces Y equals 0, 2 times RIG equals 0.978 times total length of the girder, which is 3.6 times 3, 10.8. Then plus, there are 3 triangular loadings. Each is equal to 36.904. So times 36.904 904, and there are 3 of them, and there are two 90.4 kilonewton load. So we have 151.04 kilonewtons. Finally, the maximum moment in an interior girder is, we simply sum up moments about this center here. So it is RIG 151.04 times moment arm half of 10.8, which is 5.4, minus 36.904 times 3.6, that's 3.6, then minus 90.4 times 1.8, then minus this is 18.452. Moment arm is 1/3 of 1.8, so 0.6. Then minus the moment of this uniform weight of beam, 0.978 times 5.4 times 5.4 over 2, or 0.978 times 5.4 square over 2. So it is equal to 494.7 kilonewton meter. So take note that we cannot use the equivalent loading anymore because of the presence of this concentrated loads, which is very different figure from the derivation of the formula for equivalent uniform load, which will cause maximum moment at the center. Then for the axial load on this beam B, in this column B2 here, so take note that there are two girders, interior girders attached to it. At the left, the reaction should be transmitted there, and this is equal to the reaction at the interior girder. That reaction of the interior girder is equal to interior girder 151.04. That's also 151.04. It's not so clear here, but just look at it from here. Then here above it and below it, we have reaction of the interior beam, reaction in the interior beam. And the reaction in the interior beam is 45.2. So 45.2, 45.2. So the axial load in column B2 is 2 times quantity 151.04 plus 2 times 45.20, and we'll get 392.5 kilonewtons. So that's for the axial load on column B2 based on the transmitted reactions. Now, we check that axial load by computing the load transmitted to it based on this tributary area. So the dimensions should be 10.8 by 6, and the loading on this tributary area for that column would be loadings on the, which is the load or dead load of the slab and the live load. And that pressure is 5.695 kilopascals. So 5.695 kilopascals times 10.8 times 6. Then we add the number of beams inside the tributary area. There are 3 beams of length 6 meters. And there is one girder, interior girder, of length 10.8 meters. So that's it. So, or PB2 based on tributary area, it is 5.695 kilopascals. Then the tributary area 10.8 times 6. Plus there are 3 interior beams. 3 times the weight of the beam is 0.7153 kilonewton per meter, and the length of each beam is 6 meters. That is now for the weight of the 3 beams. then plus the weight of interior girder, which is 0.978 kilonewton per meter, and the length is 10.8. So computing, we'll get the same answer of 392.5 kilonewtons. In computing for the axial load in column C2, if you look at the original figure, there are two exterior girders that are attached to that column and one interior girder. So we already computed the reaction in the interior beam. One interior beam attached to that column and two exterior girders attached to that column. So we need to draw the loading diagram of the exterior girder, which is this. Then the loading is just pressure 5.695 times S over 2, so times 1.8, so 10.251 kilonewton per meter. And this is the reaction at the end transmitted to the exterior girder, which is from the interior beam, 45.204 kilonewtons, or 45.20 kilonewtons, 45.20 kilonewtons. And there are still three triangles. So summation versus y equals 0, 2 times reaction in the exterior girder is equal to area of the beam, 0.97, area of the girder, which is 0.978 times 10.8, plus there are two 45.2 kilonewton point load, and there are three triangles, so 3 times 18.452 kilonewtons, where 18.452 is the area of this triangle. 1/2 of 3.6 times 10.251. So the reaction in the exterior girder is 78.16 kilonewtons. We then transmit that to the column C2. So this is the left side, 78.16. That's the reaction. At the right side, 78.16 kilonewtons also. That's the reaction. And this is the reaction in the interior beam, 45.2 kilonewtons. Therefore, the axial load in column C2 is equal to 2 times 78.16 plus 45.20. So it is 201.5 kilonewtons. Or another way is using the tributary area, 10.8 meters by 3 meters. We'll just base it from this tributary area of C2. So the pressure 5.695 kilopascals, the area 10.8 times 3. There are three beams of length 3 meters. The weight of the beam 0.7153 kilonewton per meter, and times 3 meters. Then there's one girder of length 10.8 meter from the figure, so 0.978 times 10.8. So computing for the axial load in column C2, it is also 201.5 kilonewtons. So they should check. For this problem, for the beam loaded as shown, apply method of superposition to determine letter A, the maximum bending moment, B, the average shear stress. Use the formula. This is from Steel Design. Shear stress average equals maximum shear over quantity depth of the wide flange section thickness of the web. Then, and the maximum shear stress, also compute the maximum shear stress. So let's use this, but let's compute this by the shear stress formula VQ over IB, which occurs at the center of the W flange. Letter C, vertical deflection at the free end use E 200 gigapascals, and the beam is W12 by 58. So the beam is not, the figure is not shown, but it is a cantilever beam. It is W12 by 58, which is this beam here. And at the end of the beam is a 15 kilonewton load. Aside from the weight of the beam, it also carries a uniform load of 5 kilonewtons per meter. So when you say superposition, supposedly we compute independently the moment caused by the 15 kilonewton load and the moment caused by the uniform load. Again, it is a cantilever beam, 6 meters long. It carries a uniform load of 5 kilonewtons per meter, plus the weight of the beam itself, which is 58 pounds per foot. So we have to convert everything there. So for the solution, the dead load of the beam is 58 factor 1.488 times 9.81 over 1000. So 0.8466 kilonewtons per meter. So the maximum moment, you may draw like this one. Cantilever beam, the moment is maximum here. And it is equal to, due to the 15 kilonewton load, 15 times L6, then plus the uniform load and the weight of the beam, 5 kilonewtons per meter plus 0.8466 kilonewton per meter, so 5.8466 kilonewton per meter times 6 square over 2, because it is times 6 over 2, or 3 meters. So the maximum moment is 195.2 kilonewton meter. So this is by superposition. The effect can be combined. So next is maximum shear. The maximum shear is occurring at the fixed end. So it is equal to P plus 5.8466 times 6. So 15 plus 5.8466 times 6, 50.08 kilonewtons. Since we need to compute or know the geometric properties of this wide flange section, especially for the moment of inertia and area for the calculations of Q. So we have here the wide flange, which is BF is 10 inches. The thickness of the web 0.64 inch. Then we have the depth of the flange D 12.2 inches. Therefore, this height of the web is 12.2 minus 2 times 0.64, because this is also 0.64. So that's why you get there 10.92. The thickness of the web is equal to 0.36 inch, and half of the height of the web is 10.92 divided by 2, so 5.46 inches for the calculation of capital Q later. So the moment of inertia is, imagine moment of inertia of big rectangle minus moment of inertia of smaller rectangle. The neutral axis for the two rectangles are lying on the same neutral axis as this wide flange. So for the big rectangle, B height 12.2 cube over 12. Then for these two rectangles combined, 10 minus 0.36, the height is 10.92 cube over 12. So it is 467.13 inches to the fourth, and rounded off to mm to the fourth times 25.4 mm per inch, we get 194.4 times 10 to the 6 millimeters to the fourth. So the depth of 12.2 is 309.88 mm, by multiplying 25.4. The thickness of the web, 0.36 times 25.4 is 9.144 mm. So substitute into the formula for average shear stress, tau average, V over depth, TW. The maximum shear force is 50,080 newtons. From here, 50.08 kilonewtons in newtons, 50,080 newtons divided by depth 309.88 mm, thickness of web 9.144 mm, so that's Newton per mm square or megapascal. So average shear stress 17.67 megapascals. The maximum shear stress can be computed using this barbecue over eta V. V is the static moment of area of the upper half or the lower half for symmetrical sections. So for the static moment of area for the upper half, by the way, this is the shear stress distribution, if you can recall from your strength of materials. So this is the average. The maximum occurs at the neutral axis. So therefore, it is greater than, slightly greater than tau average. So Q is equal to 10 times 0.64. Then moment arm of that area from the neutral axis is half of 0.64 plus 5.46 plus the moment of area of this half web, which is 0.36 times 5.46, moment arm half of 5.46. So Q is 42.358 inches cube, converting it to mm cube times 25.4 cube. So that would be 694,123 mm cube. So tau max therefore is equal to maximum shear Q over moment of inertia, 184.4 times 10 to the 6. Then B, the width of the portion that will be sheared off when failing, 9.144, which is also the thickness of this web here. We get 19.56 megapascals, which is expected higher than 17.67 megapascals based on this figure. So finally, for the maximum deflection for a beam due to the concentrated load at the end or point load at the end is PL cube over 3EI. The best way to derive this is by virtual work method or by Casigliano second theorem. For those who have not yet who have not come across with the different deflection methods, especially for cantilever beams, you have to look for tables of deflection formulas for cantilever beams, or you look at my YouTube channel, find the portion there where we have different situations or cases for deflections at the end. But you can use double integration as a good start, because that's my just one requirement, known deflection tool in deriving these formulas. Other loadings, couple, triangular load should also be remembered or derived beforehand. So due to uniform load, it's WL to the fourth over 8 EI. So since these are the types of loading for that cantilever beam, then I'll just present these two parts. So EI is modulus of elasticity 200 times 10 to the 6, original 6 to the 9 pascals. So if we just make it 10 to the 6, so it is in kilopascals. Then moment of inertia 194 0.4 times 10 to the 6 mm to the fourth divided by 1000 mm per meter raised to fourth, then that would be 38,880 kilonewton meter square. So for the continuation, let's evaluate this combined deflection. So delta E at the free end is equal to P15 L6 cube over 3EI, then combined W, weight of beam and the load itself, 5.8466, length 6 to the fourth over 8EI, so that would be 2027.15. The units in the numerator is of course kilonewtons times meter cube, so that's kilonewton meter cube. The denominator is EI, so kilonewton meter square. So that would be in meter. So we convert meter to mm by multiplying 1000 mm per meter. So the deflection at the free end is 52.14 mm. For this beam, this is about force envelopes. The range of values of the reactions, or it may be deflections for the challenging part, moments, or whatsoever that structure may be subjected to throughout the history of its existence. So the designers use this so that they will be confident enough that as long as the established force envelopes is correctly calculated, then the loadings that will be passing on that member is standard, and is confident enough that the beam or the structure will be safe against any possible movement, possible position of the loadings, because the maximum value of the reaction stresses, deflections, or whatsoever will not go beyond that established range. So that range is called the forced envelopes. So for the beam shown, the beam weighs 6 kilonewtons per meter and the uniform live load is 12 kilonewtons per meter, while the concentrated live load is 20 kilonewtons. Determine the range of values for the reaction at all supports. The live load can act anywhere on the beam but does need to act on entire spans when it acts. If the length, letter B, if the length of the live load is fixed at 4 meters, then it can act anywhere on the beam and there will be no restrictions. By the way, this part is just my invention. This does not, or this may happen in the actual field, but rare. So just to measure how you will understand this concept here, that's my motive. But we can at least compute this. We can apply the principle of establishing force envelopes. So this is the original beam, and we use the concept of qualitative influence line. That is, if I push A, then this will be the deflected shape of the beam. So in this portion, the ordinates will be positive and it will only be negative somewhere here. So for the negative part, the live load should be placed there so that the reaction at A will be minimum. So we have here the 12 kilonewton per meter live load. Of course, the dead load will act on the entire span because it is fixed. It is dead load. And the concentrated live load placed over the maximum negative ordinate which is at this end here. Now the length of the beam for the first part, the length of the live load for the first part is not known. It is unlimited, or it can adjust itself. But as stated here, it can act on the entire span when it acts. This is an overhanging span. So the idea is only 2 meters should be placed there, or else if we is allow portion of the 12 kilonewton load to be between A and B, then the reaction at A will no longer be minimum, because if there is a load in between the two, portion of that load will be carried by A. So just this part. And if this is a girder, for example, imagine that at the end of the beam we have here the pavement or the roadway. This may be a river, then this is also a pavement. So portion of the live load will be carried by the ground or the pavement or the road, so that only 12 kilonewtons per meter will be transmitted to this overhanging end. So this is now the loading situation of the beam. You can analyze this conveniently. 6 kilonewton per meter over the entire length of 19 meters, and 12 kilonewton per meter over 2 meters only, and 20 kilonewton concentrated live load over this end. So by summing up moments about B equals 0, we can compute RA minimum. So summation moment B equals 0, clockwise positive. So RA minimum times 12 plus 20 times 2 plus 12 times 2 times 1, then equals 6 kilonewton per meter times 19. Half of 19 is 9.5, because we sum up moment about B. 9.5 minus 2 is 7.5. So that's why the moment arm for the dead load is 7.5. So RA minimum therefore is 65.92 kilonewtons. Then we have the loading diagram for maximizing RA. So the influence line will give us the idea that the live load, the uniform live load, should be placed over this RB0 to this maximum positive ordinate, and the concentrated live load over this maximum ordinate as shown here. So we have 12 kilonewton per meter from B to this left point, then the 20 kilonewton load. So summation of moments about B equals 0, the equation would still be RA max times 12, then equals 20 times 17 plus 12 times 17. Half of 17 is 8.5, then plus 6 kilonewton per meter times 19. Half of 99.5 minus 2, so 7.5. So RA max is 244.1 kilonewtons. We now set up the force envelopes for RA. It is 65.92 less than kilonewtons less than equal to RA, and RA is less than equal to 244.1 kilonewtons. So as long as these are the live loads, 12 kilonewtons per meter, and this 20 kilonewton load, this would be the range of values of RA, no matter how you place the load. That's it, the live load. Then for RB, so we push reaction at B. This one is the influence line for RB. This portion is negative, so that means we have to load this part by the uniform live load, and concentrated load at the left end to cause minimum reaction at B. So that's why this is the loading situation. So summation of moments about A equals 0. So RB minimum times 12 plus 12 times 5 times 2.5, then plus 20 times 5. By the way, the other end of the 12 kilonewton load on the ground or on the road, and that part will be carried by the road or the ground. Then equals 6 kilonewton per meter times 19. Half of 19 is 9.5, but because we sum up moment about A, so 9.5 minus 5 is 4.5. So RB minimum is 21.92 kilonewtons. So next, for maximum RB, we have to load from A to the right end of the beam by the 12 kilonewton per meter load. This is this, the concentrated load here on the maximum ordinate to maximize RB. Summation moment about A equals 0, RB max times 12 equals 20 times 14 plus 12 kilonewton per meter times 14. Half of 14 is 7. Then plus 6 kilonewton per meter times 19 times 4.5. 9.5 minus 5 is 4.5. There is 4.5 here that is covered by this pen here. So RB max is 164.1 kilonewtons. We now establish the force envelopes for RB, and it is 21.92 kilonewtons less than equal to RB less than equal to 164.1 kilonewtons. Then for part B, if the length of the live load is fixed at 4 meters, so what if the length of the live load is fixed at 4 meters? So it can act anywhere on the beam and there will be no restriction. So we use the same principle that to minimize the reaction or the function, we should put the uniform load to the portion where it is negative, mostly negative, and the concentrated load on the negative end, maximum negative ordinate also, as long as it is still following that condition. So that's why for RA minimum, so this was the figure for RA minimum. So it is 4 meters. Again, only 2 meters will be loaded, the other 2 meters on the road here. So that's still 12 meters. This is the negative part. Do not put part of the 4 meter length live load in this portion here because the ordinate is already positive. It will reduce it will not make RA minimum for that case. So this is for influence line for RA. So it is only same as to this. Since the loading placement and the condition is the same, then we say that RA minimum is the same as RA minimum in this first part A here, 65.92. Then for RA maximum, since the length of the beam is only 4 meters, the length of the live load is only 4 meters, this overhang is 5 meters, so one end of the live load will be here, and the other 4 meters should be on this part only. So I cut it there. That's 4 meters only. That's 12 kilonewton per meter. And this is still the location of the 20 kilonewton load. So for RA maximum, summation moment about B equals 0. RA maximum times 12 equals 20 times 17 plus 12 times 4 times 15. So 15 is 17 minus 2. So that's 15. Then plus moment of the dead load 6 times 19 times 7.5, just like before. 7.5 is 9.5 minus 2. So RA max is 159.6 kilonewtons, and therefore this is now the force envelope for part B, 6 for RA, and in this condition B, 65.92 kilonewtons less than equal to RA, less than equal to 159.6 kilonewtons. Then for RB minimum, where the length of the live load is, uniform live load is limited to 4 meters. So this is the influence line for, this is the influence line for RB. So this should be the placement of the load. So RB minimum, that's 12 kilonewton per meter, only 4 meters. This is still the location of the 20 kilonewton load. So summation moment about A equals 0, RB minimum times 12 plus 20, the moment arm is still 5, then plus 12 times 4, so the moment arm of this 4 meter length live load is 3 meters only, then equals moment of the dead load 6 times 19 times 4.5. So solving for RB minimum, it is 22.42 kilonewtons. Then for RB maximum, we have to place 4 kilonewtons here. This is the placement. This is for the 12 kilonewton load, kilonewton per meter load. So we load this part because the influence line for RB is still positive in this part. So we use the entire length of the live load. This is 4 kilonewtons, 4 meters. But the 20 kilonewton load is still at the maximum ordinate, which is at the rightmost end. So 20 kilonewtons. So take note that the 12 kilonewton per meter load is only up to here in part B. Summation moment about A0, RB max times 12 plus 20 times 14, then plus 12 times 4 times 12, because that is 2 meters, so this is 12 meters. Then plus 6 times 19 times 4.5. Then we have RB maximum equals 114.1 kilonewtons. Therefore, the force envelope for reaction B in part B is 22.42 kilonewtons, less than equal to RB, less than equal to 114.1 kilonewtons. For this last problem, for the beam shown, the beam weighs 6 kilonewtons per meter and the uniform live load is 12 kilonewtons per meter. Determine the range of values for the reaction at all supports. The live loads can act anywhere on the beam but does need to act on the entire spans when it acts. So I need to consider RA only and RB. I will leave RC to you, but I will provide you with answers. This one, 19.35 less than equal to RC less than equal to 67.65 kilonewtons. So for RA, if you're going to push RA, this is the deflected shape. So that means RA will be minimum if the live load should be placed here, and maximum if the live load will be placed here. So therefore, we place the live load here to compute first RA minimum, and we have to apply double integration method to do that. So this is now the dead load, and this is the live load. And since we apply double integration method, and that the moment equation is singular, that is, we can only have one moment equation for the entire span, so which is here. So EIY double prime, remember this is moment, equals RA times X plus RB times quantity X minus 6, then minus 6 times X over 2, or minus 3X squared, then minus 12 times quantity X minus 6 times X minus 6 over 2, and that is minus 6 quantity X minus 6 squared. Integrating once, AIY prime is RA over 2X squared plus RB over 2 quantity X minus 6 squared minus X cubed minus 2 times X minus 6 cubed plus C sub 1. C sub 1 is the slope at the origin, which is at A. Integrating again, AIY equals RA over 6X cubed plus RB over 6 quantity X minus 6 cubed minus X to the 4th over 4 minus 2 over 4, or negative 1/2, X minus 6 to the 4th plus C sub 1X. There is no C sub 2 because when X is 0, the deflection at A, which is a support, is 0. Then when X is 15, Y double prime or moment at C is 0 because that's a ruler end, and that's the end. So substitute RA times X15 into this equation, plus RB times 15 minus 6, 9, and minus 3 times 15 squared, minus 6 times 6, 15 minus 6, 9 squared equals 0. Take note that after we simplify, it is 15 RA plus 9 RB equals 1161. This equation is the same equation if you sum up moments about C. Try to do that. Summation of moment about C. Verify that this is the same equation that you can formulate. Then when X is 6, deflection at B is 0. So Y is 0. So 0 into this equation equals RA times 6 cubed over 6. Then 6 minus 6, of course, 0. Then minus 6 to the 4th over 4. This is 0. Then plus C sub 1 times 6. Simplifying, 36 RA plus 6 C sub 1 equals 324. So call that equation 2. Then the continuation to the solution here will be here. So from here, you go proceed to there. When X is 15, Y is 0. So 0 equals into this equation RA 15 cubed over 6 plus RB 15 minus 6, 9 cubed over 6 minus 15 to the 4th over 4 minus 15 minus 6, so 9 to the 4th over 2 plus C sub 1 times 15 equals 0. Simplifying, that's 562.5 RA plus 121.5 RB plus 15 C sub 1 equals 15,936.75. So solving equations 1, 2, or that 2 there, and equation 3 simultaneously, we get RA to be negative 2.025 kilonewtons, RB 132.375 kilonewtons, and C sub 1 66.15. Although that's not important, RA is important. So this is minimum, meaning to say it's downward. That's reaction, that's the same magnitude, upward or downward, but in this case it's downward because the other span BC is longer. And take note, this is loaded with live load, so naturally it will deflect that way. That's why we have RA to be going down. Then to maximize RA, we need to load portion AB only with live load. If you look at the deflected shape. So this is now the figure. So we have 12 kilonewton per meter, but this is the section where the moment equation is to be established. That's why the 12 kilonewton load will be extended. And since we extended 12 kilonewton load, we counter it with 12 kilonewton per meter load also upward. So the equation would be EI y double prime equals RA times X plus RB times quantity X minus 6 plus 12 times quantity X minus 6 times X minus 6 over 2. So that's why it's 6 quantity X minus 6 square. The total uniform load going down is 18, 12, and 6. So minus 18 times X over 2. So that's minus 9X squared. Integrating once, AIY prime RAX squared over 2 plus RB over 2 X minus 6 squared. Then plus 6 X minus 6 cube over 3. So 6 over 3 is 2. Quantity X minus 6 cube. Then 9 over 3 is 3. So minus 3X cube plus C sub 3. Integrating again, EIY equals RA over 6X cube plus RB over 6 quantity X minus 6 cube plus 2 over 4 or 1/2 quantity X minus 6 to the 4th minus 3 over 4 X to the 4th plus C sub 3X. So these are our equations. Then when we set X equals 15, moment at C again is 0. So it's like summing up moment about C equals 0. So when X is 15, Y double prime is 0. 0 is RA times 15 into this equation plus RB times 9 plus 6 times 9 square minus 9 times 15 square. Simplifying 15 RA plus 9 RB equals 1539. Call that equation 4. When X is 6, Y is 0 at B. So 0 equals RA 6 cube over 6 plus this is 0. 0 minus 3/4 of 6 to the 4th, then plus C sub 3 times 6. So 36 RA plus 6 C sub 3 equals 972, equation 5. Finally, when X is 15, Y is 0 also. So 0 equals RA 15 cube over 6 from this equation plus RB over 6 9 cube plus 9 to the 4th over 2 minus 3/4 of 15 to the 4th plus C sub 3 times 15. Then simplifying 562.5 RA plus 121.5 RB plus 15 C sub 3 equals 34,688.25. Equation 6. Solving equations 4, 5, and 6 simultaneously, we get RA 42.525 kilonewtons, which corresponds to RA max. So therefore, we now establish the force envelope for reaction at A, 2.025 kilonewtons downward, less than equal to RA, less than equal to 42.525 kilonewtons, and it is upward for maximum. And finally, for RB, because I leave RC to you as your practice, when you push RB, this will be the deflected shape. So meaning to say there's no negative portion. There's none of the portion of the entire beam that will be loaded with live load to cause RB to be minimum. So the live loads will be placed outside. It's on the ground. So therefore, the load remaining to cause minimum RB would be that of the dead load only. So that's why this is the loading when we want minimum RB. Likewise, when we want to maximize RB, it also tells that we have to load entirely ABC with live load. So therefore, the loading for ABC to cause minimum and maximum reaction at B would be uniform. So I'll just make it variable 6 when we want the reaction at B minimum, and 6 plus 12, 18 when we want RB to be maximum. So let's begin with W. When W is 6, this is the section. AI y double prime equals RAX plus RB times quantity x minus 6 minus W times x over 2. So minus W x squared over 2. Integrating AI y prime equals RA over 2x squared plus RB over 2 quantity x minus 6 squared minus W x cubed over 6 plus C sub 5. Integrating again, EIY equals RA x cubed over 6 plus RB over 6 quantity x minus 6 cubed minus W over 24 x to the 4th plus C sub 5x. There's no C sub 6 because the deflection at A is 0 when x is 0. Then when x is 15, y double prime is 0 or moment at C is 0. Take note, W is 6. So 0 equals, in this equation, times 15 plus RB times 9, then minus 6 times 15 squared over 2. Simplifying, 15 RA plus 9 RB equals 675. Call that equation 7. When x is 6, y is 0. So 0 equals, into this equation, RA 6 cubed over 6 minus, because that is 0, minus 6 times 6 to the 4th over 24 plus C sub 5 times 6. Simplifying, 36 RA plus 6 C sub 5 equals 324. Equation 8. Then, when x is 15, y is 0. So, 0 equals RA 15 cubed over 6 plus RB over 6 9 cubed minus 6 times 15 to the 4th over 24 plus C sub 5 times 15 equals 0. Simplifying, 562.5 RA plus 121.5 RB plus 15 C sub 5 equals, you just read that. I can no longer read that. You just evaluate 6 times 15 to the 4th over 24. That's the value there. Then solving equation 7, 8, and 9 simultaneously, we get RA 10.125, RB 58.125 kilonewtons. So this is important. RB, this is RB minimum, 58.125. Then we load the entire beam by 18 kilonewton per meter this time, since it is the same. The only difference is the W. So this equation 7 would become 15 RA plus 9 RB equals, from this equation here, 18 times 15 square over 2, and that's 2025. That's why I call that 7A. From 8A, same boundary conditions, the equation would be 36 RA plus 6 C sub 7. I'll call the new slope at A to be C sub 7 equals 18 times 6 to the 4th over 24, and that's 972. Call that 8A. Then in equation 9, x is 15, y is 0. So 562.5 RA, still into this equation here, plus 121.5 RB plus 15 C sub 7 equals 18 times 15 to the 4th over 24, and that is 37,968.75. Equation 9A, then solving equations 7a, 8a, and 9a simultaneously, we get RA 30.375, RB 174.375. So this is it. Therefore, we now establish the force envelope for RB, and that is 58.125 kilonewtons less than equal to RB, and RB less than equal to 174.375 kilonewtons. So that's it for this video.